How do I know what to prioritize and focus on first?
Ask questions and be genuinely curious about people. Curiosity is such a powerful tool that we don't utilize enough. I feel like you want me to go deeper.
I do. What does that look like?
What does that look like?
Welcome to the Tomorrow Is Not Today podcast. You've already started to create the life you want just by being here. Designed for you as a business professional so you can be physically, mentally and emotionally healthy, more productive, less stressed and living a life you truly love. My name's Kingsley and thank you for coming on another journey with one of our uniquely qualified professionals.
Amanda Rosazza, is that how you say it?
Nailed it, Kingsley.
Close?
Nailed it. No, you nailed it. Rosazza. It's
cool.
Once you know.
Well, I love
easy.
Italian food, so I'm pretty much there, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need. A love for the food. And you've got it. You've got it.
So thank you for joining us on the Tomorrow Is Not Today podcast. I'm actually really excited to have you here. Basically, obviously, we met, it's only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, correct.
You were doing a presentation.
Guilty, yes.
And it was amazing. The presentation you did, the way you engaged the audience, how you brought out the strengths in different people and things like that was fantastic. And I had to have you on the podcast. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be here.
And for you getting up and driving and doing all that stuff, it's awesome.
Oh, look. We do what we do because we love what we do, right?
That's actually 100% true.
Yes,
100% true.
Yes.
So now I want to ask you, as we always start with a big question.
I'm ready.
Initially, and then we unpack things as we go through. You talk a lot about team and culture.
Yes.
What is culture in a team?
That is a great question. Okay, so, and you want me to answer this straight away, Kingsley?
Yep.
Is that how it rolls?
Big
Okay.
summary question.
Okay, culture in a team. So culture, when we think about culture in a vacuum, it's kind of like trying to grab onto smoke, right? It's this thing that we know is there. It's a feeling. It's a temperature when you walk into a room. It's how people make you feel. It's how you relate to the general vibe, if you like, or energy of an organization or a team within an organization. So culture within a team is getting all of those pieces together within each individual in the team and then the team as a whole so that we actually have, well, we don't want a toxic culture, right? So that we've got a positive, productive culture where everyone feels like they're included, they belong, and that they're contributing.
That sounds like a lot of things to do.
It is and it isn't. It is and it isn't.
So going back to what you were just saying there, it sounded like you were talking about the individuals. You work on the individuals and then create the corporate culture from that.
That is correct, yes. And how you work with those individuals. So my model, if you like, is a triangle. You can see that, team, if you're watching the video version. So you need a strong foundation, which is leadership. So if you have great leaders, you can have a great team or employee experience, which is the second side of the triangle. And when we've got that all locked in, we can provide our guests and our customers and our clients with an amazing guest, client, customer experience. So, but without that leadership piece and empowering each of our individual team members to be great leaders in their own right, they might not be leading a team, they also need to lead themselves, then we're setting people up to win.
I love this. I love where this is going. That is a big thing for me as well. Lead yourself first. So, all right, let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
What you were just talking about. So it looks like obviously you got the leaders of the organization that's happening. So those people there, they obviously need to lead themselves first well.
Yes.
To be able to outflow that into their team.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of it, a big part of it is setting the example, right? Being the example to follow. And it's also about knowing what the win looks like and being able to embody it and demonstrate it to the rest of the team.
Okay, so when you say knowing what the win looks like and demonstrate it, is that their behavior? Is it their words? Is it their attitude? What is it we're talking about?
All of it.
All of it.
Yes. And as much as each organization has their own values, culture, mission, vision, guiding principles, if you like, is what I'm hearing more and more now. They are individual to each organization. Also, successful ones have a lot in common. So if we have the right attitude, so growth mindset, Kingsley, all of the stuff you love and you teach your humans, if we're getting that right in the leaders and they're instilling that in their team members, then, you know, if we put systems and processes underneath that, we're unstoppable.
Okay, so how does that leader grow and develop themselves in that way?
Great question. So there's a few ways that you can do it. So you can roll out programs in the organization that includes professional development across the board for everybody and include coaching and mentorship for each individual leader. They can go and proactively seek out knowledge, so become a sponge for all of that good stuff, all of the things that you're teaching people, right? And you can also model other people's behavior. So if there's a leader that you admire and respect, you might take a few pieces from there. You might look at another one and you might see a few things that you like about them and study them, listen to audiobooks, watch movies, podcasts, all of that, and just fill your brain with all the goodness so that you're on the right trajectory to becoming what you want to be. The other flip side of that is don't get stuck in the research and in the weeds. You've got to actually do the things as well.
Okay, so let's break that down even further. Be more tactical even still.
Yeah, I got you.
What does that look like for a leader? What are they doing on a regular basis, physically, mentally, all of that sort of thing?
Yeah. So if, for example, you had an organization who one of their priorities was wellness, as an example, right? If you want to see your team members being well and encompassing wellness, you absolutely have to be doing that on a daily basis and be seen to be doing that on a daily basis. I feel like you want me to go deeper.
I do. What does that look like?
What does that look like? They are organizing wellness days for their team members. They are participating. So it's not just about do as I say, not as I do. Did I get that the right way around?
Yeah. I love that. I love it.
Right. So it's not just about setting the task and then you going off and doing your own thing. You need to be in the muck with them and getting it done as well. So you need to embody and do the things that you want to see. For example, I'll use this example because it's the biggest one that people are asking for right now is time management. If you have a leader who is sending their team members to get time management training and their time management is poor, you see the disconnect there, right?
Yeah, totally.
I see that so often. So let's get you firing on all cylinders as the leader with impeccable time management. So you're setting the example. What does that look like? You're able to come into work at a reasonable hour. You're able to leave at a reasonable hour. Not that you're, leaving your team members struggling till 10 at night. None of that stuff. But you're able to put together a time management system, time blocking, having open office hours instead of being available constantly, things like that. Pomodoro technique. See, this is a whole other podcast right here. So I won't go into the detail. We can put some stuff in the show notes if you need it. But yeah, really embodying that thing and being it and doing it so that then your teams can do the same.
So there's really a lot of organising, planning as the leader, isn't there, to make this work?
Absolutely. So systems, processes, if you don't have systems and processes and you don't stick to them like glue consistently, that's a problem. You may as well not have them in the first place. So you need to go to the trouble, we'll say. Everyone says, I don't have time to create systems and processes. Yes, you do. You can't not do it. So create your systems and processes so that you're making yourself available for the bigger vision stuff, and then your team members can drop into those systems and processes as well. Okay.
Now, a lot of our listeners are business owners, like you're talking about, and high-level execs. So I'm going to take it back because quite often to business owners, they left a job, they started their own business, and now they're a leader, and they're running themselves or running a team. They got stuff going everywhere because that's what happens when you start a business. It just is.
Yes.
And so now what I've got to do, I've taken on this responsibility that I didn't even know I was going to have.
Yeah.
To be this example, this person. So let's go back to square one, because often what I find is business owners and leaders, they're out there. They may have been running their business for years and years, but they haven't yet implemented a lot of these critical factors.
That's it.
So where do I start to actually implement? What's some basic steps I can take to put some of these things in place?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like to say, okay, what's going to give me the biggest bang for my buck? What's going to move the needle forward the most right now? So what's the number one priority? So once you're able to identify that, then you can decide what actions can I take to implement that? And it will look different. Again, it's one of those situations, same but different, right? It looks different for every organization, yet there's a lot of guiding principles and similarities and crossover. But it's really about making that decision. What is going to move the needle forward the most for my organization right now? And what steps do I need to take to make that happen? Put yourself on a timeline. Don't leave it open-ended, because it will never happen. Say, I'm going to achieve this in the next month, 3 months, whatever it happens to be, and then just work out how you make it happen and ask really powerful questions like you did at the start. How do I make this happen? What's my solvable problem? And work backwards from there.
How do they know what that is? Because when you got so much stuff going on, sometimes it's hard to know what is the most important things. Because I know sometimes I'll come in, I'll get into work, and all of a sudden, like, I've got my day planned and we're all happening. I'm excited because I'm doing this stuff. And then you get smashed from all these different things that happen. Yeah. How do I know what to prioritize and focus on first?
Great question. So I would always say, you first need to focus on what you're already doing and getting that right before you can find where the leaks or the holes or the opportunities are. So if, for example, you're saying you're getting smashed. Okay, what can we do differently to make sure that you're getting, say, 3 hours of focus time in per day to make sure that you're bringing leads into the business, closing deals, and servicing your already amazing clients, right? Because ultimately we need to bring new people in, we need to sell to those people, and then we need to serve the clients that we already have.
Okay, can I interrupt there?
Hit me.
No, I won't do that.
Okay. Interrupt me.
There's 3 critical things you just said that has to happen in every business. Now, if we pull that back a little bit, with all the other stuff that happens,
yes,
are you saying that's my priority? If I've got these 3 things that are happening, and obviously there can be leaks in these things.
Yeah, and there will be.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do we focus on fixing those leaks first? And that, again, that's probably going to be different for every scenario.
It is. It depends.
But is that the priority going, are these 3 things working?
Yeah. Are these 3 things happening? Because, and I'm sure you've experienced this, you're talking to business owners, they've got a pipeline looking like this, which, okay, healthy pipeline. They're servicing their current clients really well. They haven't done lead generation for 6 months. So we know there's going to be a problem in about 2 minutes from now, right? So it's about, are those 3 things in place first? Second thing, once we're assured that that's happening, let's look at the systems and processes around that. So not to get too much into the weeds, are the leads coming in? Are we getting enough leads coming in? And are we closing those leads to get the pipeline where we need it to be? Do we need to add more team members in? Do we need to improve our systems and processes? What's the profitability looking like? That's another podcast that I won't. Yeah.
So you're really saying that you need to pull back and have a bird's eye view.
You do.
Of what's actually happening.
Yes.
Because quite often we can get in and do the stuff, and stuff all gets done when we do that. Whereas if we pull back and go, oh, I see what's happening now, and then that gives us a better idea where to head.
Exactly. So, and you would know yourself, you get in the business instead of on the business. So you need to bird's eye view, start looking at the business, and you need your data. So those systems and processes, everything needs to be measured. Everything needs to be tracked. And if you're not doing that, you're scaring me right now. Please stop. You need data on everything so that you can take correct action.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So far we've got ourselves as the leader. We're looking at ourselves. What am I doing for myself to make myself be a good leader, good example, good demonstration of what my culture is in the business? And then I'm pulling back and going, okay, now what needs to be worked on in the business so I can focus on those things?
Yes.
Now to go to the next step, and this is where when I saw you doing this presentation the other day was phenomenal. Not only
you.
did you, and I would encourage people, if you're looking for someone to come and build culture in your organization, you need to get Amanda. She was phenomenal and engaging, not just talking about stuff, totally engaging, which was phenomenal. I used that word a lot, didn't I?
That's okay.
Okay. I'll
That's
pick
what we
another
do.
one soon.
No, it's okay. It works.
But I love the way you engage people. You put people into 4 different categories, and no, it's not boxing people in. It's finding out what their strengths are and where they operate best. That's what it's about.
100%. Yeah.
So explain a little bit about the 4 areas that you work with people and how you bring that out to create the culture.
Yeah, of course. So people equals culture, right? So without people, there is no culture. And without culture, there's no, well, if it's bad culture, the people leave, right?
Yes.
So we use the Reach Leadership Experience platform was the modality or the item that we were using. So basically how that works is it divides us into 4. Again, yes, shades of grey team. It's okay. You're not in a box.
That's right.
So there's coaches, counselors, advisors, and drivers. If you've done DISC or Enneagram or those types of profiling tools before, it will be very similar. As Kingsley's saying, it's got that next step to it. So we know where we are, how we interact with other people. It also takes you on a professional and personal development journey. So I know where my next biggest opportunity is as an individual to improve and improve my ability to play in different spaces, so not to my strengths, and also how to interact with people that are wired a bit differently to me. So there's, in the 4 quadrants, we can be people-focused or task-focused, and I'm doing this because this is how I demonstrate it. So people-focused or task-focused, thinking-oriented or acting-oriented. So personally, I am people-focused and thinking-oriented, even though over the last 5 years, I've definitely drifted towards acting-oriented. Welcome to business ownership team. Were you a coach, Kingsley? Did you do the...
I didn't know, because I didn't come to the earlier one to get the
Right.
books. I just arrived at this one.
Okay, let's play a game.
But what I love about this, while you're on that, is the fact that you can grow different areas of yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
for example, me personally,
Yes.
naturally innate, I'm a total task person, and I just do the thing.
Got it.
And I don't think about people.
Okay, right.
So, which caused me a lot of grief earlier on.
Right, yes.
So I had to learn through the bad, ugly method to understand people have feelings and like to
I
be
know,
acknowledged
wild.
and all that sort of
Yes.
stuff. To a point now where nobody would know that
No.
I'm a task person.
No, would not have guessed. That's why I asked Kingsley, are you a coach? So task focused, but acting oriented, people focused.
Yes.
So would never have guessed that you were a task focused human, but you've grown and reached into that behavior because you know people have a better experience with you and you get more done that way.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Magic.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So sorry I interrupted.
No, we
Keep
did it.
going.
We did the thing. So
Okay.
that was the game. It was, okay, where do you think you land? So you, I would say now you may have been a driver, so task focused, acting oriented, but you've grown your reach into being a coach, so people focused, acting oriented. Yeah?
Yes,
Is that fair to say?
Yep, 100%.
Because you get things done and you care about the people.
Yep.
And okay, so here's a question: if we locked you in a room to get stuff done for the day, how would you feel? Would that be fun for you, or?
No, not really.
No?
I hate being locked in a room.
What if you were on the beach getting things done?
Oh, that's a different story altogether. Happily.
Yeah, okay. So you would, if you didn't interact with people during that period of time.
Okay, so when
Yeah.
it comes to that, I still love people. I need to have people around me.
Got it. Okay.
I have to, and it's really interesting
Yeah.
because, and usually opposites attract. And with
Yes.
my wife,
Bless. Yeah.
she loves people when she's there helping them and doing things. But apart from that, she would like to be just in a room getting stuff done. She's
it.
happy with that.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm like, hey, let's go over here. There's a party and networking event stuff going on. She's like, no, I'm happy here. Thanks.
Yeah, that sounds like my husband, right?
Right.
Opposites attract.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So, and it's interesting when we have that understanding or that framing to think about them in, when their behavior would normally frustrate us. So instead of getting frustrated at them, come to the networking event, we can go, they actually hate that. They really not hate it maybe, but genuinely don't enjoy that scenario. And it would be asking a lot of their personal energy for them to be in that environment and in that space.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that being the case, when you're working with organizations, how do you help build the culture using these modalities?
Yeah. So we start with leadership team and then we run, so we get them on board and then we run leadership and team synergy sessions. So you essentially did a team synergy session, which was all about, hey, here's who's who in the zoo and understanding how I operate, how you operate, and how we can work best together and get the best out of each other. So we do that. And then everyone has their own professional development dashboard. So it's kind of like Netflix for your professional development. It has all of that data. And this is what I love about this piece. It brings in data. So we're not just guessing with people. Data-driven, heart-led, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So where the people are the magic, they're the heart. And we've got all this data to back it up. And their professional development dashboard is personally curated just for them based on the data that we have about them. So for me, which I found really interesting, I ran my training needs analysis the other day because my team and I are doing a team synergy session next week. I found very ironic that it was suggested that I should, my next development area is facilitation skills. And I am a facilitator.
Yeah.
So I'm clearly relying on my energy here and there's some refinement that I can do, which is fascinating. So I'm going to go and pursue that because that's what the data tells me.
That's what I love about that is because a lot of people get to a point and that's their growth. They might develop more in certain areas, but they don't find out, okay, where do I need to grow next specifically?
That's it. Yeah.
And take that on because... And even though we haven't known each other that long, I think you know that I'm all about continual growth.
Absolutely.
Continual growth. Because as soon as you stop growing, you die.
100%. You grow or you die.
And so that's what I love about what you're doing and how you brought out people, but you did it in such a fun way at the same time.
And
so
it is fun, yeah.
Tell me a little bit for business leaders who are trying to work with their teams. And I know everyone's got their own energy and personality and that sort of thing, and you're just a bundle of energy, which is so cool. With teams and things like that, how can leaders sort of bring out people and get them engaged a bit more?
How do I put it diplomatically? We don't take the time to understand the other person. So we're like, okay, you're here to do a job. And it's not that we don't want to get to know them. We just feel the other pressures of the business, if you like. So taking the opportunity to understand this person, how they work, what their strengths are, and what they bring to the table, people are actually seen, heard, and understood for themselves as a person, not just one of the team, if you like. And that's so important in terms of being able to get the best out of our people and have them firing on all cylinders.
Okay. I'm going to put something in there.
Hit me. Or not. Inspire me.
Yeah, I'd rather do that. Might be safer. One of the things I talk about a lot is being present.
Yes. Yeah.
because a lot of people are there, but they're not present.
100%. Yes.
Like as a boss. So tell me yeah, great. All right. So can you go and do,
That's right.
that's how I would have been in the past.
Yeah.
But being able to really listen to what someone's happened. I know for some people it's natural.
Yes.
For me, it's not at all. It's very much a learned thing.
Yeah.
But what I learned as well is being present.
100%.
It's not just engaging them, but to me, it's a form of loving people.
It is, absolutely.
'Cause you're interested
You're giving them
Yes.
your full attention, right?
Yes.
And attention and your time is the greatest thing you can give someone, right?
Yes.
That's it.
So what you're saying, so is that a good thing for leaders to, literally stop?
Yes. you
You're
need to
just
stop.
there
Yeah.
with them.
Yes,
At that time.
absolutely. No phones, no distractions, door closed. Give them your full attention. And then that's where the magic happens. And start with a question. Kingsley, how are you?
Oh, you want an answer?
Yeah,
Sorry. No,
I do.
I'm great, thanks. Especially after this morning.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Just ask questions and be genuinely curious about people. Curiosity is such a powerful tool that we don't utilize enough. So having that ability to be present, be curious, and the other thing I would say is, let me articulate it correctly. When you're being curious, it's really hard to judge someone. It's really hard to have bias towards someone. So approach everyone with genuine curiosity. You might have prejudged them or have assumptions about them, but we want to leave those at the door and we want to start with a clean slate.
I love that so much because it's so true.
Yeah.
That until and this is why I love hearing people's stories. I love stories, and that's one of the things I love about podcasts.
So good.
Is I get to hear their stories,
Yes.
and when you hear stories, you understand the person better.
That's right.
And you treat them so much different.
Absolutely.
I remember Zig Ziglar used to say, you will always treat people exactly the way you see them.
That is true.
And if we see them for who they are and their story,
Yeah.
we often treat them different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So building culture in a team. So what you're saying is understand them and don't judge them
That's right. Yeah.
and let them know that you're listening to who they are.
Yeah. And that you care. So, and I can't remember who said it, Kingsley, maybe you remember, they want to know that you care before they care what you know.
Yes.
Right. So that is a big element of it as well. So you need to start the interaction being all about them, being curious about them, getting to know them. Then you can start talking about, here's our new systems and processes. How do you think you would work with those? How can I help you to work with those?
So actually gaining feedback from their perspective on how they would like it to happen to it. Obviously, they can't run your business, but there is, because they're going to know, probably like you said, when you got the 4 different quadrants of people,
That's it.
how they will receive it better.
Exactly right. So if you don't have a system or a process in place where you can get that data, you can ask a question. Absolutely. How would you like to see this happen? I'm not saying we can change how it's going to happen, but if I've got awareness around how it's going to affect everyone, we can absolutely put a system in place as a team and work together on this.
So as putting a team together, the culture, would you say that listening is one of the key factors?
Absolutely. And I zoom out a little bit more, and communication just generally. So one of the most popular classes I run is a 3-hour communication class, because people just aren't taught how to communicate. And the biggest challenge that people have is that and I'm trying to remember the modality, it's the ladder of inference. Have you heard of that one before?
I've heard of it.
Okay, let me refresh your memory. It has 8 steps to it, but really basically, if say we're in a meeting and I'm really excited to share my new idea and I've put my hand up, new business, I want to raise my idea. And then you say, we'll have to table it till next week. And then you continue talking about something for, say, 10 minutes. I'm going to make some assumptions about that interaction. Oh, they don't care what I have to say. They're not interested in me. They think I'm boring. Like any number of madhouse things that our brains will tell us, right? So we will make that call. That assumption will form a belief or reinforce a belief, and then it will change our behavior. So for me, I might decide I'm not going to speak up at meetings anymore. Now that means that, unfortunately, I'm not going to be contributing and you're not going to have the benefit of my contribution. And that's what I hear so much, because we're not taught to communicate and say, hey, Kingsley, just curious. I was really keen to share my idea. We weren't able to do that. I was just wondering why we couldn't share it today. People are terrified to do that. They're terrified to communicate because they're so worried about the potential consequences. And I don't think people are taught, to approach things with curiosity. They think they immediately have to go to this aggressive place, or I wouldn't even say assertive, somewhere beyond aggressive, because they don't know how to articulate just from a place of, I just want to understand.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. That is, and it is interesting because everyone's going to perceive things a different way for so many different reasons.
That's it.
As a leader, like, one of the big takeaways for me from this is, as a leader, we need to develop ourselves in so many different ways. If you want to run a business, whether you like it or not, and you just got into it because you want to do your own thing, that becomes irrelevant.
That's right, exactly. Irrelevant.
You're running a business right now.
You need to step right up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So, no, that's awesome. Amanda, I just looked at the time. We've been going for, I don't know exactly how long, 45, 50 minutes.
Oh, look at us go.
This has been absolutely phenomenal. And there's so much, I feel like we are only just touching some of these things.
Absolutely.
Yes. But before we go, and I hate to cut it off there, but maybe we can do this again another time.
Absolutely.
There's so much more.
Yes.
I always ask two questions.
Yeah, sure.
Because we'll talk on Tomorrow's Not Today podcast about creating the life that you want.
Absolutely.
Which is the ultimate tomorrow.
Yes.
So I'm going to pose a question to you. Two questions. Number one, what is the ultimate tomorrow?
For me or for everybody?
For you.
For me. I want to be in a position where I'm able to help people as much as I can on a larger scale in a way. Let me pose it differently, because I feel like I'm going to go off on a tangent. My best tomorrow looks like being able to take cohorts of incredible humans for 5-day, 7-day immersions to Walt Disney World, and we learn all of this cool stuff. Why at Walt Disney World? Because when you have fun and you have an emotional connection to something, like what we would create in that environment, you're more likely to learn it and implement it because you want to relive that again and again and again. So that's my big, hairy, audacious goal.
I love it.
For my best tomorrow. Yes.
So now, how do you create your ultimate tomorrow?
Good question. I need to find more amazing humans like yourself and your listeners to help make that a reality. So I'm finding, even just in the last 12 months, the more I surround myself with the right people who are aligned with what I believe in and what I want to achieve, the more I achieve. So
yeah,
I think
true.
that's the magic.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Now, because I really encourage people, if you've got an organization and you want to do some work in this space, get in touch with Amanda. How can people do that?
Absolutely. So, Mike, just email me if you like. So it's amanda@amandarosazza.com. Show notes, right? Because no one's going to be able to spell that, and that's okay. Stalk me on LinkedIn. I love hanging out on LinkedIn. So Amanda Rosazza, I'm the only one there. You'll be fine. Nice and easy.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll make sure that those details will be in the show notes, along with some other contact details and that sort of thing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
For joining us in our studio. I really appreciate that.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. No, it is fun in here.
It is a lot of fun, yes.
And it's very easy to get on a conversation, in case you missed that.
Yes.
But thank you for joining us. come back again for another. We got so many good guests coming up on tomorrow's Not Today podcast. Again, thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us. Have a
Thanks for having
fantastic
me.
day.
Thank you, and you too.
I will.